Hey, it's Jeremy here with the Guillette Group. Today we're going to be talking about moving to Southwest Florida, and I'm going to give you 6 tips to making it easy. Stay tuned. All right, so we're coming back at you. We're going to talk about the first tip I have for you. That tip is sell or donate all of your furniture. Now, I don't really mean sell all of your furniture, but think about what you're going to do when you get here. There's going to be some pieces that just aren't going to fit. They're going to be too dark, too big, too this, too that. Whatever it is, you're probably not going to want them. So take the time ahead of time to think about who might want them within the family. Do you want to donate them? Do you want to try to sell them? We learned the hard way, thinking that we were going to sell a lot of stuff, which we did. We still brought a lot of stuff. And it was surprising, we'd been relocated a bunch of times corporately. It was surprising to us, this move we did on our own, just how much money it costs to just get something here. So really weigh the pros and cons. If you're not in love with a piece or don't think it's going to be perfect for what you want down here, probably just unload it, before you move. There's going to be so many options to you down here. There's tons of furniture available on different marketplaces, whether it be the Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist. There are nice consignment shops here. Posh and Plum comes to mind. You can buy really nice furniture at some of these consignment shops. And of course, there's options like room to go. If you just want to be able to fill a room quickly, get some good furniture in, you can get a whole room done at a glance. So sell or donate your furniture. That's tip number 1. Okay, folks, we're back now with tip number 2. We're going to talk about taxes in tip number 2, but I want you to stay tuned because 5 and 6 are really important. We're going to get there pretty quickly. Okay, so back to taxes. When you're thinking about moving to Florida or Southwest Florida, particularly if you're coming out of state, you want to make sure you're thinking about taxes. And you also want to think about the implications of making this your primary residence. So in the state of Florida, you have the ability to homestead. Does a couple things for you. It guarantees that the county can't actually raise your appraised value by more than X% every year. I have to look up the exact number. So it kind of protects you if you're on a fixed income, that you're not going to get priced out by your taxes climbing too aggressively because the property values continue to increase. That's a really nice benefit. The other thing is you actually get about $50,000 off on most of the line items on your tax bill. Some of them are 25, so you get an additional benefit there by making it your primary residence. The bigger part about moving to Florida, and this happened to us 8 years ago, we moved from Illinois, and we lived in central Illinois, by the way, so we weren't in Chicago or a major city. Our taxes were almost $13,000 a year for a cookie cutter home. When we moved here in 2012, 8 years ago, they were about half. So we were lucky. The market was a little bit down when we bought, so our taxes went down. And even today, they're maybe a third less than what they were. So there's some significant savings in your property taxes. The other part of that, though, are your income taxes. And it's pretty significant. So the state of Illinois is 6% income tax, or at least it was at the time. So for simple math, if you have a $100,000 household income, that's $6,000 a year. That's right back in your pocket. If you have a $200,000 household income, that's $12,000. That's $1,000 a month. So I want you to think about this. If you're thinking about moving to Florida, did you want a Jeep? Maybe you wanted to join a boat club. Did you want to join a golf club? That $1,000 a month that you might save, it pays for that. So just in the tax savings alone, it's already going to kickstart your Southwest Florida lifestyle. There are so many benefits moving to Florida. That's a reason why people retire here. But as someone that's not retired, I can tell you the benefits start way before you're retired if you have an opportunity to move here. So tip number 2, account for taxes. It can make life way better. You get to spend your own money on something you want to do. Okay, tip number 3, seasons. And there's really just 2, in season and out of season. Oh, I'm just kidding. There's rainy season and there's dry season. No, I'm still just kidding. There really aren't, there aren't seasons here. Yeah, it gets a little less humid, but generally we're pretty consistent. It gets a little hotter in the summer here, and certainly it's a lot more humid. We get a lot more rain in the afternoons, but it's predictable. So most of you guys potentially have come and visit before, and you've come at the right time. You came at Christmas, you came at spring break, you got away for a week in the wintertime. It's amazing, right? I mean, you wake up every day, it's blue skies, it's sunny, it's gonna be 82 and low humidity. Frankly, the Gulf water temperature is probably still in the 70s. I mean, it's pretty remarkable to be here in the wintertime. But if you haven't come in July, you might be a little bit surprised. So I want to give you a little bit of insight as to what the weather is like the rest of the year. It's humid, don't get me wrong, but it's also manageable. So one of the things that we have in the summertime is we have storms almost every afternoon. But you could set your watch to these storms. They're predictable. Every afternoon around 2 o'clock, the clouds start to build. By 3, 4 o'clock, the rain starts. By 5 o'clock, it's a ferocious storm. And by 7 o'clock, the clouds go away and we all watch the sunset. So I say that, we jokingly say, hey, we have to suffer through summer to get to winter. It's a little bit different than, when we lived up north. I grew up in Massachusetts, spent most of my career in the Midwest. We looked forward to summer. And here, we love summer, but we love the rest of the year even more. Now, one thing I will say about summer, while you can predict it, you can also manage it. If you still like to play golf, you like to be out on the boat, you like to go do things, you get up early, you go outside. As long as you're home by 2, 3 o'clock, you're going to be okay. And I'll tell you, life doesn't stop. It's hot, it's humid, but in my experience, whether you're working or playing, you go from your air-conditioned house to the air-conditioned car to wherever you're going, do what you're doing, and then you come back. Now, something I want to be serious about is the lightning. If we're not the lightning capital of the world, we're close. And it's not like what you're used to. This lightning is real. So my recommendation, download WeatherBug. It's an app on your phone. Turn on their Spark service. It's actually a lightning tracker. And make sure you have your notifications turned on. You'll actually get alerts. So as the storms are starting to build and as they're starting to roll in, it'll actually tell you, when to start to seek shelter or to get inside. Take it serious. It's a big deal. I will say this, 75% of the year here, pretty amazing. More than 300 days a year here of sunshine. It's awesome. You just got to be prepared. You got to take it serious in the summertime. Tragically, there's at least one news story a summer where someone is either struck by lightning and killed or severely injured for life. So be mindful of it. It's not as great as the wintertime. It's still great. We've been here 8 years. We'll never leave. All right, we're already halfway through. We are moving right along. Tip number 4, storage and basements. Yeah, there aren't any basements here. So you have to maximize the garage, what limited storage you might have. Knowing the different floor plans, walking through a house with someone that's from this area, it's helpful. They're going to know what to look for. Storage is a big deal. You're going to find a lot of people here. Well, frankly, almost everybody has a climate-controlled storage unit. That's common. What you'll also find is, we air-conditioned our 2-car garage. It just becomes an extension of your living space. You want to make sure that you can protect what you have in the garage. It can get unbearable in the summertime. If you've got your doors closed and if you have a house where their doors are facing west, that sun is beating on that garage door all day. So you're going to be limited on what kind of storage you have. So you got to be mindful of what you bring, how you store effectively. There's all kinds of solutions and strategies to maximize, whether it be shelving in the garage, lift type racks. There's other kind of racks. I mean, you'll see in almost every garage custom cabinetry oftentimes around the perimeter. It's just something you need to be aware of. One thing that you don't want to use here is the attic. Sure, most every house here has some attic space available to them. It is oppressively hot there, particularly in the summertime. And unless you have something that can really withstand the heat and the humidity, it's not a good place to store it. I've seen people take bins down from their attic, and the heat, it just warps the plastic in the bins. So even things that you would think are pretty hardy, probably not a good place to think about storing in the attic. That's tip number 4. Number 5 and number 6 are even better. Stay tuned. Okay, guys, we're talking about number 5. And this one's a big deal, but it doesn't apply to everyone, so I'm going to try to move pretty quick. Talking about the public schools in Florida, specifically Lee County and Collier County, and in Lee County, the program known as school choice. So here's what I'll say, and this is not going to come out right, but I think about an analogy. Remember those kids in middle school that maybe went a little bit further than everybody else, a little bit faster, and they earned this reputation that they really could never shake? I think that's the Florida public schools. So when we moved here in 2012, we were really worried about what we were going to find and experience. And I think part of that is the taxes we were paying were so outrageous in Illinois that we had just been convinced that we had the best schools because we were paying an arm and a leg for them. So when we got here, it was totally new to us. We live in Lee County. We're part of school choice. Our kids didn't go to the neighborhood school. We didn't even know that in advance. So it came as a surprise. What I will say is, it's been wonderful. We have 3 kids. When we first moved here, all 3 were elementary school age. I now have 2 in high school, 1 in middle school. Still not a huge fan of school choice at the elementary school level. I don't think it makes a lot of sense. We're busing kids all over the county. As you get into middle school and you get into high school, holy cow, now I understand the value. So it really allows your child to pick and really specialize in a program that interests them. So it could be aeronautics, it could be a nursing program, it could be HVAC, it could be Cambridge, as an example, the internationally standardized curriculum and testing. There's a host of options available to them. School choice is unique in that it allows them to really pick a program that they're going to excel in, that they're interested in, and you have that opportunity. So unlike what you're used to, where your kids just went to the neighborhood school or the one that's the closest, school choice doesn't work that way. Collier County and Naples and Marco and other parts of that area, it works just like you're used to. So what I would say is, don't be afraid. The public school system is great here. And if you still want to pursue private, there's tons of options also for that, for Christian schools or college prep. You know, there's Canterbury School is a big one here. There's a whole host of them. We know this is an important topic for anyone that has kids of the age that they're going to be in school. If you have questions, call or text. Myself, my wife Angie, we're super familiar with the school systems here. We know it's a big deal. We actually switched realtors when we first moved here because we were asking about school choice, and we asked about the CDD in our community, and the realtor said, I don't know. Didn't work for us. We found someone that actually had some answers. If you want to have a conversation, just give us a call. All right, guys, the last one, number 6. Okay, we're going to talk about insurance. A lot of people may not think about this, but insurance is kind of a big deal here. It's different than what you have in most other parts of the country. We're close to the coast. We got to be worried about hurricanes. There's many areas, especially if you get west of 75, as you get closer to the Gulf, they may require flood insurance. So make sure before you start looking at property or, heaven forbid, submit an offer on something without knowing the flood zone, because it could be the difference between, if you want flood, $200, or if you're required to have flood insurance and you're real close to the water, it could be in the tens of thousands. So, not to scare you, most flood zones here at most $1,000 a year. So it's not going to break the bank. It's just something that you have to be aware of. The next one, though, is the hurricane deductible. It's separate from the deductible on your homeowner, so that's totally different. If you don't have a $2,000 flat deductible or a $1,000 deductible, you will likely have a percentage of the insured value of your home. So just because it's easy math, you have a $500,000 house here. Your insurance deductible on a hurricane is typically anywhere from 1 to 5%. So let's say it's 3%. That means if you had a hurricane claim, you're responsible for the first $15,000 in damage. That's a lot. And heaven forbid, there's been a season where there's been 2 hits in a season here. Now, I'm not trying to spread fear or panic. We've been here 8 years. There's been 1 storm. We didn't have a claim. Now, not all of our neighbors were as fortunate as we were. In fact, many had to have roofs replaced. Certainly, we lost shrubs and many lost others. The pool cage was a big one in the last storm that hit. But you have to be aware. And I will tell you, when we first moved here, our hurricane deductible was 2%. We did some shopping thereafter, and we found there's multiple insurance companies here that will do a flat rate on insurance. So if that's important to you, make sure you're working with an agent that can give you what you want. And just knowing that it's an option can totally change what you're looking for in insurance. All right, guys, so those were the 6 tips we have for moving to Southwest Florida. If you have questions for us, just drop them in the comments below. We'd certainly love it if you'd ring the bell, hit like, subscribe, all that other stuff that happens. We're going to be releasing content here pretty frequently. If this has been helpful, we'd really appreciate the like and the subscribe. We'll be talking with you guys again soon. Take care.